In part 9 of our build guide, we unwrap the dash harness and thin out the unnecessary wires. Lay out the dash harness on an open work surface. A sheet of plywood across a couple of sawhorses makes a great table. Use wire cutters to remove all the zip ties. Work your way from one end of the harness to the other. Once all of the clips are off, use a sharp knife to cut through the tape so you can peel it off. Having a trash can nearby will help you keep your table clean. Go all the way down until you've completely uncovered the harness. With the harness unwrapped, it will be easy to remove the unnecessary wires. Lay out the harness like we did to make it easy to locate the wires that will be removed. Start by removing the antenna cable. Some of the wires being removed will be useful later on, so don't throw any away. Find the blower motor plug and cut the black wire near the plug. Trace the brown wire back to the large white BCM plug and cut it. Remove the blower motor harness. Use the radio to identify the two plugs that attach to it. Cut the wires near the plugs. Remove the 16-pin harness. You can find it by looking for the blue foil wrapped wires. One at a time, trace the other radio wires back to their source. When you think you've found where the wire is attached, pull it free from the bundle of wires to double check. Once you are sure it is the right wire, cut it near the connector. Repeat the process for all of the other radio wires except for the black ground wire. Leave the ground wire full length at this time. As a reminder, be sure to save all of the wires you remove. Use the climate control module to identify and cut the next plug. Use a screwdriver to remove the blue plastic cover from the BCM plug. Trace the climate control wires as before and cut them near the connectors. Some of the wires go to the small blue BCM plug. The others go to the larger white BCM plug. Use the center bezel of the dash to identify the airbag warning lamp wires. Cut, trace, and remove these wires from the harness. Identify the dimmer knob wires using the trim panel from the driver's side of the dash. Trace the dimmer plug wiring back to the small BCM plug. Cut these two wires, leaving enough excess to knot them together. These will be soldered together later. Our donor didn't have fog lamps or traction control, but if yours did, identify them using the dash trim panels and remove the wires. Use the trunk release button to identify and cut the wires. Trace the tan wire back to the blue BCM plug and cut it free. Pull the ground wire from the harness, but leave it attached to the copper lug. Use the wiper switch to identify and cut the wiper control wires. Trace the 3 wires back to the BCM plug and cut them free. Trace the green wire back to the black multi-plug and remove it. Look for the 2 yellow airbag connectors. Pull one of these connectors through the dash harness to remove the airbag mini harness. Use a few zip ties to tie the harness near the major junctions. Roll up the harness and store it for later. In the next video, we'll unwrap and thin out the main wiring harness for the Goblin.